Let's see here. Okay. We are live, my friends. Welcome. This is going to be quick, I hope. I said that last time it was about an hour, so there is a patch, as you can see just from a quick glance. It's actually pretty notable. It's worth talking about. 7.22c. Just make sure everything is correct on my side. It seems to be. For those of you on Twitch, thank you for waiting after I was done with For Honor. Alright, so let's get right into it. Ring of Basilius. The bonus damage increased from 7 to 8. I think this is going to mean that if you buy a Ring of Basilius and decide not to buy whatever item you were building it into, like a Vlad's, it makes it more okay. Obviously, the cost efficiency of the Ring of Basilius goes up. It does not say that the Vlad's gives anything beneficial because of this. I would say this makes it a better item in lane. Just because of the increased damage means more harass, better last hitting, better denying, whatever. I don't think it's dramatic, but it's nice. It's a 500 gold item that gives you 8 damage and mana regen. That's not too bad. I just don't know if other heroes are going to pick it up. I don't know if other heroes are going to pick it up like that wouldn't before. Axe base movement speed increased by 10. This is pretty dramatic. Axe is a problem chasing people. Even though Battle Hunger gives him move speed and slows, it's just not enough for him to get into position. This extra 10 move speed is going to be super scary for Axe offlane, because when I'm playing someone like Anti-Mage, I know I can outspace him and walk away when he walks in, walk away when he walks in, back and forth. This is going to give him a lot more power to just kind of walk in quick and call. And you have more control over his counter helixes, so this is really big. Even when he cuts, it's easier for him to run away when people try to gank him when he's past the tower. So this is a pretty big change. I think this is what Axe needed. Flaming Lasso's cooldown was increased at the later levels. That's huge, actually. That's a huge nerf to Batrider amongst all of the things he's ever had nerfed to him. That's pretty big.
I don't know why they're nerfing him.
I don't know. Flaming Lasso is a great ult, but the fact that it has a longer cooldown is pretty notable. I don't see a lot of Batrider at my level, but I'm sure he's played a little bit at the higher level. This is gonna hurt, obviously, because it takes longer for him to be relevant. Yeah, I know it's mostly because sticky napalm. It's nice to see him relevant less often, so he has to find things to do for an extra 20 seconds before he can group up with his team and get kills. So that's nice. Bloodseeker got a base armor increase. This is going to mean that it's even harder to get him out of lane. Amid Bloodseeker is going to be really hard to like harass out. Because he's already going to heal off the creeps and denies, anyway. But on top of that, he's harder to kill. So that's interesting to see. I mean, it's not going to affect much else besides the landing phase, so it's, I guess, nice. Bloodseeker will be very relevant. Bristleback, base damage increased by 3. I think that was very needed. He has a trouble getting last hits as it is because he has to use Quill Spray to get last hits. So this is going to increase his capability of actually getting those last hits, and it also means that early game, if he has a good stun with him, he might actually be able to get kills because he's going to hit as he's chasing, and that might increase that kill potential. I don't think it's going to disastrously change the character or anything, but it's just nice to see. Chaos Bolt mana cost was reduced at earlier levels. This is really good, especially since they buffed Chaos Bolt. This is a big buff to CK because he has trouble casting Chaos Bolt in lane. He only has like 2 in him before he's out of mana, and that's why you buy Mangoes, but just seeing that 30 mana off at level 1, that's a really big deal. That's huge. Like, you might get close to casting a third one, and maybe with a wand you will be able to, so like just by using a charge or 2. So this is pretty big for his laning. Divine Favor Aura no longer provides damage. Divine Favor now has the recall ability instead of Holy Persuasion with a 60-second cooldown. And Divine Favor HP regen was increased. So Holy Persuasion used to be the ability that teleported people, right?
Yeah.
So you used to be able to cast Divine Holy Persuasion and teleport people to you, like allies too? Or did they take that away and give it back? I'm trying to remember.
No, Divine Favor gave a humongous HP regen bonus.
No, I'm saying, what did Holy Persuasion used to do, besides giving you creeps?
It gave you creep, and it was the teleport.
Did it teleport your allies to you as well?
Yeah.
Because it's always been changed a couple times. So basically, they just basically moved that entire ability over to Divine Favor instead. That's a buff, because now you can still get creeps without, like, putting it on cooldown. Yeah, it always teleported your creeps to you. I remember that. So they're basically just moving it away from Holy Persuasion's cooldown so that you don't have to waste Holy Persuasion to do those things and not be able to get a creep. So that's a buff. The heal is a pretty big buff too. The damage is a tremendous nerf.
Actually, it's pretty. I like it actually.
You'd rather
the damage.
You'd rather without the damage, but give the HP and have the recall.
Yeah, because you can now buff your creeps with a permanent, humongous damage bonus. It's just permanent.
It's no. It's still an aura. Read it. Passively provides an aura. He thinks it's not an aura.
No, I know it's aura.
No, I'm saying to Azzy, just so we're on the same page. It doesn't provide damage at all to anything. It still has the aura for HP regen, and that got buffed. Now, instead of Holy Persuasion, which used to be used as a teleport to you for both allies and enemies, allies and creeps, which were used differently because you cast on yourself to get creeps to you. Now, instead, it's been moved to recall. It's been moved to Divine Favor. So now, instead, Divine Favor, which is an aura, also has an active. And just like Drow Aura does, you can buff creeps, but the aura is still active regardless of whether or not you use it. So no matter what, you still give HP regen and an aura. Separately, you can put the ability on cooldown to teleport things, which is a buff because you still get the aura regardless.
Playing Chen, I did a demo real quick because I noticed they didn't put it in the patch notes, but if you read Holy Persuasion now, it says health minimum is now 1,000. That means your creeps start off have 1,000 HP. But the problem behind that is the level 20 talent does that. So the level 20 talent doesn't even work.
I'm sure they'll fix that. Holy Persuasion now provides the damage to converted creeps. It means that Chen can actually use twice as much damage because it's doubled to have his creeps push towers. This means that he can convert a catapult and give it damage, which is pretty dramatic. I think the point was they don't mind Shen having multiple units with damage buffs, because if Chen had 2 units before, they'd both get 16. Now he can have 1 with 32, which means the more creeps Chen has, actually this is a nerf, because it's less damage overall, but it means 1 unit can be more useful, so he's useful earlier. So 1 catapult can now shred a tower, versus before he needed a couple to actually do the damage. Penitence mana cost was increased because Penitence is really strong. They changed the XP talent to be worse. Instead of Divine Favor damage, it's Holy Persuasion damage, because that makes sense. Instead of armor, he gets Divine Favor cooldown so that he can use his recall more often. That's pretty big, actually. 30-second cooldown on moving someone to you. That's pretty big for split pushing. So I think Chen is going to be more on this, on the idea of, you know, having 1 big creep do a lot of work for him with the buff from Holy Persuasion, because it doesn't say, so Holy Persuasion doesn't have a limit. When you get a creep, it just does more damage forever without being near you. That's what happens. Yeah. So this is actually a buff overall, I would say, just worse with Chen team fighting. So Chen is a worse team fighter because allies don't get the buff for damage. Instead, Chen's much better at sending 2 separate waves of units, like catapults here or whatever there, to push. And then when he needs to go somewhere, he can pull his creeps to him very often. And he can still be getting more creeps instead of having to worry about his Holy Persuasion cooldown to bringing people with him out of fights. So he's a better split pusher. Instead of just push 1 lane, he's better at pushing separate lanes because they're all getting the damage bonus whether they're with him or not.
The aura size is humongous.
100% Azzy. Agree. That's going to be ridiculous. So I think this is a buff overall. Just a couple nerfs like with Penitence and some of the talents. But I like the changes to Divine Favor. It hurts the team fighting Chen with his allies. In a lot of like minion strats with like Lycan and stuff. But it buffs Chen just as his own hero by himself. Clinks.
They just need to rework his level 20 talent.
Clinks gets no armor but gets agility instead. They changed magic resistance to strength. They changed his strength that comes later to burning army cooldown, which is stupid. And strength duration got increased. So this means that they changed 2 of his things to be flat. Like, okay, so they took away some of his survivability, which is good. Screw Clinks, no armor. He gets like 1 armor instead from his agility. And the damage that he gets is kind of whatever. So instead of him being able to choose, like, oh, I want armor or I want magic resistance, depending on his enemies, too bad. You can get a little armor from agility and some damage, or you can get some flat strength, which is going to be less efficient than the magic resistance itself. I was gonna tell Cat.
That's a humongous time. Mine is 30 seconds.
So, more or less, I think that these 2 changes are fine at level 10. I do not like the Burning Army cooldown. I think that's egregious. He's just going to, especially with the Ags, he can literally just summon a Skeleton Army at all times. And the Strafe duration wasn't needed either. That's kind of stupid. This is overall a buff to Clinks, I'd say. I don't like these changes at all.
I think they're trying to bring him further into competitive scene.
Battery Assault cooldown went down. That's huge. That's like really big, actually. I love this. Clockwork needs the love. I hate Clinks too. He's one of my least favorite heroes right now. Clockwork needed the love. It's not a huge change, but it's nice. It's just nice to see that it can be relevant more often. Darkseer Surge was reduced. The move speed increase by 5% at all levels. That's nice, I guess. It's not a huge nerf. His talent was reduced to the Iron Shell. Good. Darkseer's not that strong, but he's pretty strong. He's a really good aura carrier, so I'm glad to see a little nerf. Dark Willow attacks faster because of the base attack speed. Shadow Realm max damage duration was reduced, so it gets it faster. So I think they realized they overdid the damage because they changed it from 3 to 4. Now they found the sweet spot of 3.5 seconds to get the maximum. And Dark Willow attacks a little bit faster at base attack speed, meaning that the Aghanim strategy could work, but it's better just for Dark Willow just doing Dark Willow things, just being a normal hero. It's nice to see the base attack increase just by building a support Dark Willow. Then you can harass better. Bad Juju cooldown reduction was increased.
Oh, God.
Why? It's only at the earlier levels, but like, why? Instead of 200 health at 10, you can get 30% XP gain, so you can actually rush getting bad Juju faster. So I think Dazzle with Midas is going to be like a lot more, seen more often, because you can literally just get to level 10, get the XP gain, which multiplies your Midas gain anyway, to get faster in earlier like stuff on your earlier levels of bad Juju and just get those cooldown reductions going. Stupid.
That doesn't sound fun at all.
Yeah, I hate it. Dragonite Basin was increased by 3. He very much needed it. He has terrible interpool. Breathe Fire damage reduction was increased to 10. This makes it more valuable against hard right clickers like PA. And the health talent went up 2. This is not needed. He needed some love. This is a really good change for Dragonite. It's just like an overall, like, nice. It's not amazing, but it's nice. Elder Titan, Astral Spirit, attack damage increase per hero was increased by 5 at earlier levels and scaling up. 5 and then 10, yeah. I mean, does DK really stop Clinks, though? Because you don't reduce the burning arrow damage. You just reduce the base damage. Right? It doesn't reduce modifiers. So it doesn't really stop what he does. It doesn't stop all the... That too, it doesn't stop any of the skeletons. So like now that he has even... he survives, I'm just saying. With the fact that Clinks has so many skeletons all the time, Dragonite can't stop them.
Yeah.
I don't know, it could help. I think the increase in early Astral Spirit's fine. Elder Titan's already a good hero, so it's not like he needed it, but it's just a quality of life thing. It just sucked that you had to scale so far up to get to his good damage. Impetus range increased from 550 to 575, matching the hero's attack range. Good. That means that Impetus doesn't have a stupid attack range for no reason. It also means you can do more damage with Impetus easier. Enchant cooldown was reduced, making her a better ganker. I would argue that literally this enchant change actually makes her a better jungler now. You could, in theory, jungle Enchantress to gank into the safe lane because of how often you'll have enchant up. It's kind of ridiculous. I'm not saying it's going to be good, but it could work. Either way, she's just a better hero. Enigma intelligence gain was reduced. Good. He's already an annoying hero. He's annoying. He's not that great, but he can. His ult is pretty good. Chronosphere radius increased? What? Why? That's so big. I know it's only 25 increase on radius, but that's 50 like diameter, so that's pretty big. And time lock chance was increased by 2 at all levels. This actually might bring Faceless Void back. I don't see him almost at all, but the increase in chrono means he's going to be bigger versus a lot of heroes who, like, when they're chrono, they die. Like Weaver, Ricky, you know. Having the increased radius means it's easier to catch those heroes. And the time lock chance, I know it's only 2%, but like 2%, it matters. It's just more likely he gets extra damage since it does, 40 extra damage per hit, for example. And it hits you again anyway. Life break slow was increased. That's Absolution's gonna love that. It's always 60 at all levels. That's huge. Level 6 Huskar, you don't leave. He just jumps you have to TP out, or you die. Base armor on Evoker was increased by 1. This makes him a much better mid laner. This means he can trade a lot better with other heroes. Assuming Shadow Fiend didn't get any buffs, I would assume this actually changes it so that Invoker is a better laner than Shadow Fiend because he can trade the right clicks a lot easier. Io, attack range was reduced by 75, making him much worse in lane. Base armor was increased by 1, making him a little better at trading. Strength gain was increased by 0.5, making him a lot better at trading. So this is a big buff to support Io minus the attack range. Tether regen was reduced at early levels, so he's not as crazy at instantly healing carries. Tether cancel now has a 0.25 second cooldown to prevent accidental uses. Spirits no longer slow. But at level 10, instead of an XP gain, they took that away, you can gain Spirit Supply Slow. So the attack range really only weakens the carry, Io, because now it's hard to get in range to actually hit people. The armor and strength gain totally help in all regards. I can still see... So Wisp mid's going to suck because you can't last hit, deny, and harass. That's going to be the problem. The Io controlling the lane is worse. But the armor and strength mean you can actually survive as a support, which is super nice. The tether is just... That's quality. Like, it should be like that. Spirits no longer being slow is huge. It means you actually have to scale into it, which kind of sucks because you want to take the... You used to want to take the XP, but now that you have damage or Spirit apply slow, it's like... If you want to get... Yeah, but you can make them slow at 10. So you just have to wait. Like, I play support Io if I'm going to play, so I'm going to take Spirit Supply slow, of course. This does hurt Io overall, though. With the carry Io is definitely weakened. In the attack range is the biggest thing. I'm glad to see him get some armor and strength, though. Will-o-the-Wisp radius was increased on Caudle by 25, which is minor, but it's nice. This is a really good ult now. That's so big. Yeah, I told you, Azzy, like, he got armor, he got strength, which is damage for him, and health. And he can gain the slow at 10. Like, he's fine. The range is pretty dramatic for controlling the lane, but other than that, he's fine. I'm glad to see Caudle buffed. Base int on Lich was increased by 2. That's really nice for him because he has a crappy mana pool without his old ability to sacrifice. Damage, you know, all that. Sinister's Gaze cooldown was reduced at later levels. That's really nice because it's kind of a crappy stun, I'm not going to lie. It's like a really bad stun. Chain Frost damage was increased at later levels? What? I guess that's fair because it's so easy to avoid. So that's really big. Increased by 50. Are you still here, Drevel? Drevel left me. Sad. I didn't even realize. Talent increased 50 to 60% slow. That's huge. A 60% move speed and attack speed slow on attacks, that's so big. I would never take Frost Shield provide 60 HP regen. Like, it's good, but like, come on. That's like a double Scotty. Like, that's so big. You just right click like PA once and she's useless. I guess the Frost Shield could help, but still, like, that's so big. These are all nice changes. Base health regen on Luna increased from 0 to 0.5, so she actually has some base HP regen. This is really nice for her laning. I think we might see Luna a little bit more often just because she can actually regen without having to just shove tangos in her mouth. Strength gain on Medusa was increased slightly. That's so minor. Base mana regen on Mirana was increased from 0 to 0.4. This means that she doesn't have to guzzle clarities as much. It means she can actually roam a lot better. And Starstorm's cast point was reduced, meaning it's faster to cast. This is a pretty big buff to Mirana. I'm going to love roaming her now because that increase of mana, that's 0.4 mana per second. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but over 10 seconds, that's 4 mana. And that means that over 60 seconds, that's 24 mana. And I mean, that's not a ton, but that means every minute, like, now you're, you know, you actually have a little bit more mana. Like, it's like, oh, look, a little bit more mana back. So, like, over the course of a game, you're going to get a lot more castings. It's not big, but it's nice. It gets multiplied by some items, too. Waveform cooldown was increased because Morphling is really strong, so earlier game, it's easier to gank him. Waveform mana cost was increased, too, so he actually has to waste mana to use it. It's so minor, though. This isn't going to change him dramatically, but it's just a nice little nerf. Heartstopper heal regen per stack was increased. So when earlier levels, so when Necro actually kills something, he gains a lot more regen. Mana regen per stack was increased too. This is really big. Why I gotta stop reading? It's either Pudge or Spectre, and I'm going to be upset. This is really big. This is really big. Like, this is huge for his mid. You just can't die now. Base health regen was reduced on Nyx. Good. He's easier to get out of lane. Spike Carapace duration was reduced too. It's easier to not get hit by him. Juxtapose illusion damage was increased slightly. That's big, actually. Oh, Ricky? They buffed Ricky. They had to have, right? I think this is fine. I think his illusion should do more damage. And the evasion talent was increased to actually be meaningful. This is nice. This is a nice change for PL. I think he's going to see more play. Phoenix. Fire Spirit release no longer has a micro cast point interruption. Okay, that's just a nice quality of life. Icarus dive cooldown was reduced. That's really nice, actually. That's huge at late game. Alright, I love Puck, so I'm hoping this is buffs. Base health regen was increased. Nice. Better for laning. Level 25 Dream Coil talent no longer requires enemies to be in attack range of Puck as long as Puck is within 200 range of the edge of the circle. That makes that talent actually useful, in my opinion. Because I just have to be near the circle and I can attack everybody. Level 25 Dream Coil talent attack interval was reduced from 0.6 seconds to every 0.7. So it does attack slower, though. Level 10 talent increased from $5 stats to 6. And the cast range increased by 50. I'll definitely take the stats. That's just nice. 20 more health. You know, that's always nice. A little bit more int. This is nice buffs to Puck. As much as the attack interval kind of screws him during Dream Coil, the Dream Coil Rapid Fire is actually a build now. Like, I would actually consider that because just having to be near the circle, so I can trap people in the circle at the very extent, like on purpose, so that they can't walk out of it, and then just stand at the other end of the circle and hit them from over there. I'll have like 1,000 attack range. That's like crazy. Strength gain was reduced from 3.2 to 3. That's nice. Thinking is hard to kill, so. Sandstorm's mana cost was increased. That's slight. I guess it hurts his laning slightly. These are minor, but they're just a nice quality of life. Sanking's annoying. Base attack speed was reduced on Shadow Shaman because he hits so hard from 100 to 90. That's so big, especially against abilities that need to be hit, like Phoenix Ult, Grimstroke's Spirit, you know, those sorts of things. It's going to really suck. Skywrath, concussive shot damage increased. Of course it was. Why not? Level 10 talent, instead of int, it's XP gain. I think that's fine. I hated the int anyway because it just buffed his, his Q so much, so I'm glad to see it removed. The XP gain is huge, though, at 30%, so he'll get his, a mid Skywrath is better. Support Skywrath, I'd say, is hurt just because, like, the XP gain doesn't happen so fast. It's still not going to get him to the higher levels as much, but when you're playing, like a mid-core Skywrath, you take that XP talent, and suddenly you're already like getting so many kills. You're already in solo lane. It's gonna be huge. Slaughter base HP regen was increased. Why? Yeah, he definitely needed it. Cool. Definitely what I wanted to see. I hate Slaughter. Stormhammer stun was reduced. Good. Sven's so strong, so I'm glad to see him have less of a stun in lane, so he's not as strong of a lane bully. Warcry mana cost was increased too, hurting Sven's mana pool pretty considerably. I like these changes. He kind of needed it. It doesn't stop his kit at all, but it does weaken him. Terrorblade's strength gain was increased. This is nice. Base strength and Timbersaw was increased. He needed it. He's actually not that tanky at most stages of the game. Base mana increase, that was needed too. He has no mana regen at all. This is really going to help him. Oh, it's Tinker. Is it Tinker? It's got to be Tinker. I like this. This is a good change. March of the Machines mana cost was reduced. That's minor. I don't think that's dramatic. It only matters from level 1, so I'm going to say that's fine. Instead of... So instead of move speed, which he never needed, they gave him an actual useful talent. And it's big. Like, it's big. Why? Tinker's going to be rich. He's going to be, like, rich by no time at all. They also increased the lifesteal, by the way. I guess that's because they thought maybe somebody would take the lifesteal over the gold per minute. They're like, maybe we just need to increase it to make that happen. And March of the Machines talent was increased as well. The March, I gotta say the biggest change is the gold per minute, followed by March of the Machines damage. Because I feel like everybody takes March of the Machines damage, because who cares about the armor, right? I just don't think anybody's going to take the armor. So everybody's going to take gold per minute because screw the lifesteal. Honestly, screw the lifesteal. It doesn't matter. You want lifesteal? Cool. Just buy it. Like, buy an Octarine. I don't know why you would, but if you're that concerned, you could just afford it now with a gold per minute. Like, you don't need it. So you're just going to take the gold, get super rich, super quick. You're going to get to your 20, get the March of the Machine, and it's going to kill waves way faster. You'll just, like, drop 2 marches, the whole wave's dead. You don't need to drop anymore. The mana cost, I think, is minor. Honestly, I don't think it's going to give you that many more castings, because by the time any of this happens, you already have level 2 March. So it doesn't really matter, because, like... Oh, note that, Azzy. It costs more at level 3. That's important, actually. So at level 1, it's cheaper. Level 2, it's the same. Level 3, it's more expensive by 5. I just wanted that to be clear. So this is technically a nerf to Tinker in the long run, the March. But everything over here is a huge buff, so that's ridiculous. I hate it. Base armor on Treant was increased. That's needed. Overgrowth duration was increased. I think that was needed too. It's a really strong ult, but Treant just isn't seeing play. Oh, he will. Of course he will. He'll be played. This is enough, just right here. Gold per minute. All I needed. Whirling Axe's melee damage was reduced because it's so strong. Totally fair change. I use it all the time to get kills. Fair. It's only 25 at all levels. Movement speed increased by 5 on Tusk. This makes him one of the best offlane inter-roamers in the game. Honestly, I know it's 5. I know it's not the biggest deal in the world, but, like, come on. He's already so strong. He already catches up with you. He already has ways to close the gap. Giving him move speed on top of that is just going to make it worse. I think this is a scary change. I don't want to see more Tusks. Underlord got a base armor increase in the game. I can now definitively say that, in my opinion, he is the singular best offlaner in the game. He was already probably the best offlaner in the game. This just solidifies it. He is impossible to kill now. Impossible. You just don't kill Underlord. Like, easy. I don't understand that at all. Like, he's already so good. I guess they're just trying to buff solo offlane. They probably want Underlord to be a solo offlaner now. So I guess I understand, but, like, come on. Fix the 5 Tombstone attack talent not being right. Fix Soul Rip not being right. So these are both bug fixes that help Undying. Soul Rip max unit count was reduced. That's a pretty big nerf. 2 at all levels, that's painful. Because per thing, it heals up to 34, so that just reduced its healing capabilities by 68. That's painful. Oh, okay. No. They increased it, though. So they increased it from 18 to 30 to 22 to 34. So that still doesn't balance out. It's still weaker, but it's better in situations where you weren't going to get the max unit count anyway. So for any situation in which you weren't going to get the max unit count regardless, it's better. But if you were ever going to hit the max unit count, then it is in fact worse. Magic Missile cooldown was reduced from 10 to 9. That's a nice change for Venge. It's not huge, but it's nice. She's a great fighter now. That's a very big disable, 1.8 seconds for 325 damage, so just having it more often in team fights is pretty big. Fatal Vaughn's damage was reduced slightly. That's good. It's probably too strong. Talent was reduced also. Okay, that's cool. So overall, he'll lose 2% at all levels if he was going to take the talent. If he's going to take the talent, he'll lose 2% overall, which is minor, but it's nice. Geminate attack bonus damage was increased. That's big. I think Weaver might see play again. That's so big for last hitting. That's so big for pushing. That's so big for fighting. That's big. I know as it levels, it takes a while to really get online, but like 15 more at level 4 Geminate, that's pretty big. So like you hit somebody, you're already attacking for, let's just say, 70. So 70 damage followed by 70 plus 55. That's a huge hit. That's like gigantic hit. That's really big. So we're closing in on 30 minutes, so I'll just try to wrap up real quick. So of these changes, the biggest ones I'd say that are like real meaningful, I think this Chaos Knight one is going to make Chaos Knight a much better laner. I think this is really big, especially for me personally. Chen is a huge change. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I think that his ability to split push with creeps in different directions and have them doing more damage is really big. So I think Chen is going to be played a lot more as an annoying split pusher at high levels. Clinks is just, I would take this as a buff. I think that magic resistance to strength is definitely a nerf. But like, they gave him the option to get agility instead, just so he does more damage, because his burning army does the damage he does anyway. So this is like fine. It's kind of a nerf. And these bottom ones are a huge buff. Like, I don't get it at all. The burning army cooldown is so big. I guess it's instead of the Searing Arrows damage, but, like, still. This is one of the biggest changes. Dragonite, I think, is pretty big. He's going to see a lot more play. The int is huge. That's so big. Maybe he won't probably see play, I guess. Io is going to take a huge... this is a huge nerf for him. But everything else is big. So I'm kind of curious to see how it will play out. Because if you play a carry Io, you have to take a certain talent tree. And you kind of reduce your damage, your range. So it's going to be harder to hit people. So I'm not sure. But you are tankier. So I don't know. You'll get 10 health more per level. That's pretty big, actually. I don't think this is going to make Lich that much better. It's just nice. Morana's going to be a much better roamer. I think this is pretty big. Necro was already good at mid, so who cares? This is a big decrease. Nyx is a much worse offlaner because he got a 0.75 reduction to his base health regen. That's really big for Nyx. What else? Yes, Cooksy, I am. I'm done, basically. I'm just recapping on what I think is going to change in the meta. This is huge. Tinker's going to see so much play. Underlord's going to be the only offlaner in the game. That's about it. That's the big stuff. I am pleased with some of the smaller changes. Like, I'm glad I could feel like I could play Axe, maybe. That's a pretty nice change. But, like, the bigger changes, I'm very sad at Tinker. I'm very sad with Tinker. I don't want to see that. I know, right, Azzy? What do you think, Azzy? Because I'm curious. What do you think? Oh, you're going off to bed. I won't stop you. We'll talk about it another time, because you're on sometimes. I'll probably message you privately, so you go to bed. Alright, regardless. So, I'm going to end the video here, because I'm just so upset by the Tinker change and by a couple, like, the little things. I might play Weaver safe lane again, though. This is pretty big. I'm going to find someone who is currently playing DotA because I want this patch to be seen. So anybody who's playing right now, I will throw you guys that way. Let's see, who's playing DotA? Let me spell that. Alright, sounds good, Azzy. Let's see, I'm going to raid... Oh, come on. Why do I gotta make it difficult with underscores? I hate underscores in names. I hope I did it right. Yep, I did. Raid Calicula. For some reason, he does not have a shirt on. I hope he fixes that. That's a little confusing to me, but it's okay. He is currently playing... He was playing Dota. I'm sure I'll be right back. I feel bad because I'm going to raid him. He's not even going to be there, but, like... Actually, no. I'm not going to raid him. You know why? He's not there, and he's also not wearing a shirt. I'm fine with that. I'm not, like, trying to judge him personally, but he's not there. I don't want to, like, raid him and have, like, no response. So, someone I just went to click on is... We're just going to raid Purge, because Purge is going to give an honest estimate here. I think Purge is probably better. That's much easier. All right, we're going to raid Purge Gamers. He'll probably have his own inflections anyway, and he's much better than I am at the game, so he'll give you a good rundown. He's actually currently in patch notes, so fair enough. Alright, so I am going to sign off. I hope you guys enjoyed the quick patch review. I'll be back this Tuesday to play this patch. I'll probably have better impressions by that point anyway, because I might like sneak in a game or something. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.